Starting things off this week, we have a scoop from Headline USA editor-in-chief Ken Silva, who has obtained alleged would-be Trump assassin Thomas Crooks's community college speeches. The videos of the then 18-year-old Crooks are from 2022, when Crooks was attending the Community College of Allegheny County. The videos give us all a glimpse into what some would say is a pretty normal life for a young man pursuing an associate's degree in engineering science. Crooks makes mention of things like how building with Legos as a kid inspired him to follow his academic path. Crooks also makes a pretty positive-sounding description of his family life, one with both parents, an older sister, and a cat. I think anyone unaware of this would-be shooter's story, if shown videos like this beforehand, of a wimpy-looking boy talking about how much he loves cooking with his family, would be shocked at how he met his end. That about 2 years later, Crooks would be lying dead on the roof of a building after a failed attempted assassination of a presidential candidate, leaving one other attendee dead and wounding others. All of this comes back to the biggest question one has for suicidal shooters who haven't yet reached the age to sit at a bar and order a beer. Why? Headline USA was the first to publish Crooks's autopsy report, toxicology exams, and the 9/11 call his father made the night of Thomas's death. The New York Times only releases excerpts when we release full recordings. And we continue our mission to obtain records from Kashyap Patel's FBI when he claims these investigations are closed, only to find that they are still open, according to his respective institution. So for more scoops like this, subscribe to Headline USA on our website to get stories like this sent to your email inbox. Next, we have a story about the other failed would-be Trump assassin, Ryan Ruth, whose rifle misfired when tested by his defense team last month. According to a DOJ court filing, a man named Michael McClay, who is Ruth's proposed defense expert, test-fired the rifle back on May 13th of this year, and after being able to fire the first round, found that the rifle would not feed more rounds into its chamber. Shout out to firearm enthusiast and one of the hosts of TNP's Mob Rules Harps and other members of the Headline USA audience for offering their opinions on why this misfiring may be occurring. Because what makes this story even more interesting is that the FBI lab report on the rifle claimed that the rifle functioned normally. Man, the FBI really can't seem to get things straight on cases that Kashyap Patel claims are closed. At least in his own mind already, I guess. But what do you think? Leave us a comment on headlineusa.com about what may have caused this rifle to misfire. Also from Ken and about the FBI this week is the story of a 14-year-old who has been arrested after talking to undercover FBI agents online. This time, the FBI is claiming that a juvenile, Bo Carr, was plotting an improvised explosive attack and mass shooting combo at the Three Rivers Mall in Kelso, Washington. So far, the FBI has claimed they can prove that Carr had the intent and means to carry out this plan that he now faces attempted murder charges for, while Carr's defense points out some holes in the FBI's case against his client. Things like that the FBI's conversation with Carr led to his prosecution, that the 14-year-old boy possessed no explosives, let alone a chlorine bomb, and that the claim of unsecured guns at Carr's home turned out to be one inoperable gun and another taken out of a safe by Carr's parents when it was noticed that suspicious cars appeared to be casing their home. Sounds like a pretty reasonable thing to do when you find strange vehicles outside your home without explanation, right? And where was the warning call to the parents of this young man that their son may be talking to the wrong kind of people online? I guess the FBI would get far less arrests or mass shootings to clean up if that were the protocol. But don't worry, folks. According to a judge that reportedly felt empathy for the young Carr, his charges are too serious to let him go home, so he's going to get the help he needs from further psychiatric evaluations. Man, isn't it a shame Jolly West isn't still available? Luckily, the details of the conversations with Carr and other 764 members, the really creepy Satanist death cult that the FBI seems to have no problem infiltrating, aren't publicly available. But we can all imagine for now the state of a 14-year-old that's bullied out of school and ends up in some sort of chat room with a bunch of goofs, perverts, and feds, and why the prosecution in this case would describe him as exhibiting suicidal and homicidal ideations. Sometimes people, including kids, will act in any way necessary just to fit in. And that makes me curious as to what the FBI said to this young man to get him to talk about this heinous of a crime. Leave a comment underneath this video on X and make sure to give us a follow. Lastly, this week we have a story about newly unearthed records which confirm that the FBI lied about footage of the OKC bombing. What now amounts to a 30-year-old cover-up by the FBI revolves around videotapes taken from the Regency Towers apartments, which would have shown Timothy McVeigh arming the Ryder truck bomb at 8:57 a.m. on the morning of April 19, 1995, and the destruction of the Murrah Federal Building after, according to Utah attorney Jesse Trenadue's motion in his lawsuit against the FBI earlier this month. The evidence of such tapes existing were unearthed by OKC bombing researcher Richard Booth, after Booth did a text-based search of FBI records, discovering 4 documents proving that the Bureau is in possession of videotapes from security cameras at the RTA. These tapes may also reveal who John Doe 2 may be, who 24 witnesses have said was in the Ryder truck with McVeigh that very morning. The FBI, however, insists that John Doe 2 isn't a real thing, even though they pursued one for years and brought in Aryan Republican Army member Michael Brescia in 1997 under the suspicion that he was John Doe 2. But don't look for a swift conclusion for this question and many others in the case of Trenadue and the FBI, because Trenadue has been waiting for separate judgments in his case based on his allegations of witness tampering he made now over a decade ago. Perhaps the judgments Jesse Trenadue gets will be well worth the wait. Come back next week to see what makes the tape.